The Mighty 790 and 104.7 KFGO. Good afternoon. Welcome back to The Drive. KFGO time coming up on 4:11. KFGO News at 4:30 with Paul Juergens. Thank you for being with us. My name is Dan Michaels, and Paulie Lines is on the controls here this afternoon. He's producing our show. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, it's so good, isn't it? What a great feeling. I was watching the golf tournament yesterday, like a lot of you were too. I was just so happy for Phil. I just didn't think it was possible. You know, on I think it was Thursday or Friday last week, the pro golfer, a guy named John Rahm. If you're a golf fan, you'll know who these guys are. So John Rahm's doing an interview after he goes, I think it's the first round, and he says, "What'd you think about the course?" The course, you know, so tough, just off the right on the coast of South Carolina, wind blowing all the time, blah blah. So John Rahm says something to the effect that. Well, you know, it was really tough, blah, 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 and the last couple holes are really hard. But look, you know, Phil shot a 4 under, so how hard can it be? Whoa! You know, they're good buddies. He's just given him a bad time, you know. They went to the same school and blah, blah. But, you know, I turned to my wife at dinner that night, and I said, you know, one of the things Phil just, you know, reacts well to is when he gets challenged like this. He said, you know, you watch. Now, I'm not saying I predicted Phil was going to win the tournament this weekend. But it was so cool to see him just hold it all together. I loved it. You know, he talked about how'd you get it done. He said, I worked harder. I worked harder, and that was the end result of what he was doing. But the point I wanted to get to was the crowd. The crowd was just incredible. I really think that the people in charge lost control of the crowd at the golf course yesterday. It was kind of scary. And as a matter of fact, today, Brooks Koepka has already issued a statement today saying that, you know, obviously people didn't give a blank, you know, about him. He was playing with Phil, but everybody wanted Phil to win so bad, and they were crowding around. And, you know, Koepka's got a bad knee, and he said his knee got jostled around a little bit by that crowd. They're going to have to worry about crowd control going forward because the crowd was just crazy. Nobody was wearing a mask. You know, I don't know if that's good or bad. I mean, we're outside after all, and they said we didn't have to. But the crowd was just incredible. You could tell we're so happy to be outside. We're happy to be at something. And that takes us to Jade Nielson from Jade Presents, because we all just want to be outside. We want to be at something. And Jade Presents has got shows that have already been going on and shows getting back into business. And with that going on, I wanted to touch base with Jade Nielson from Jade Presents today and just find out the status of Jade Presents and where we are this summer. So please welcome back to KFGO, Mr. Jade Nielson. Hi, Jade.
Thank you. Appreciate the invite.
Oh, it's our pleasure. So, Jade, how are things going at Jade Presents?
You know, our wheels are turning. I feel like you were telling the story about the crowd. It's like, I'll take that challenge, you know, trying to keep the crowd in control. Hey, if we have a crowd there, we'll figure that out later, right?
Right on. Yes.
But things are going well. You know, we've been doing a few, you know, smaller events, and now with Minnesota reopening and the warm weather being here, I mean, we're ready to get moving with Bluestem. We're going to see a strong season there, and a number of other outdoor shows. I mean, we're primarily focusing outdoors this summer. I think we already have 60 events booked for the summer here in 21. So, you know, the engine's roaring now. And now it's just a matter of making sure that we deliver and people want to come out and take a look at some live music.
Absolutely. 60-some shows, huh? That's amazing.
A lot of those, you know, some of those, keep in mind, are smaller events, little patio events at Fargo Brewing and various places. But yeah, 60 events in the summer already is going to be pretty incredible for the marketplace. And
Jade, I'm just assuming naturally here that you're kind of doing it that way in a lot of smaller things and a lot of things outside, just to kind of get the wheels going again, get people going to concerts again, getting people back into that habit, and doing it outside as an extra step of safety. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, I think so. And we're certainly hearing from a lot of touring acts that, you know, if they're going to go out and hit the road this summer, that they want to be in outdoor situations. So that's the case. And, you know, probably a good 75% of the situations that we're encountering is those touring acts want to be playing outdoor amphitheaters or different outdoor spaces. So most of that is being dictated by them, but certainly, we want to make sure that the patrons are feeling comfortable as well, and so that's part of it as well.
Arguably our favorite comedian on our stand-up spotlight we play here is Brian Reagan. You had Brian in town a couple of weeks back. How did it go? I know you were seating for with COVID guidelines in effect, so you couldn't have like a gigantic crowd there or anything. But I wanted to know what the response was and your feelings was. I know you wanted to, like in your words, kind of test the waters, dip your toe in there a little bit.
Yeah, it did really, really well. I mean, we ended up doing 4 shows with Brian at the Sanctuary. We held at roughly 135 capacity per show, so it was very scaled down venue situation. And I think we sold out 3 of the 4 shows. I think one of the evenings was a little bit lighter, but we felt really good. We sold over 500 tickets, I think, or just about 500 tickets over those 4 shows, and we were tickled pink at how things went. So it was good.
Did you get a chance to interact with Brian at all when he was here?
I didn't this time. I certainly have in previous occasions, but I didn't make it to those shows myself, so I didn't.
I was just wondering how he was doing, if he had been booked, if he'd been traveling a lot, and what his parameters were like that. Well, anyway, so you've had some early success with some of the shows that you've put on, in other words, right? You're feeling good about going forward?
Feeling good. We're still in a situation as we're looking most importantly right now at our Alabama show, which is scheduled and on for June 4th at Bluestem and Moorhead. We're really targeting that, how much of that audience is interested in coming out and having a good time outdoors in an amphitheater scenario. So that's really our focus right now, and that's a big test. Like, let's see where the market is at. Will we end up sold out, which is roughly 3,000? Will we end up closer to that 2,000 mark? Where's that number going to land? I mean, we really have no restrictions from the state or from the city or from the venue. So in theory, we could do 3,000 patrons out there if people are ready to come out and enjoy live music. So this will be a test on June 4th.
Can you give us an update on how ticket sales are going for Alabama on June 4th at Bluestem?
Well, it's funny, such an odd 2020. We went on sale with this event long ago. I think
Sure.
It was back in late 19. We were virtually sold out when COVID really hit, and being the local business that we want to be, we allowed some refunds, and we refunded probably around 40% of those tickets that were sold. So from our standpoint as a promoter, that's really scary. Yeah. We guarantee, and every artist we do a pretty substantial amount of money. In the case of Alabama, it's maybe more substantial than others, and so to refund a substantial number of tickets and a real chunk of change, now we're it's iffy, it's scary. Now we actually have to get out and market this event and make sure that we can resell those tickets that we refunded. But I think right now, if I'm not mistaken, we're around 2,000 patrons for that show. We still have about 1,000 tickets to go to get us to that sellout standpoint, and certainly we're hoping that we can do that.
Well, I was looking at tickets the other day. I'm working, of all the crazy coincidences, but I'm working out of town on June 4th. Otherwise, Patty and I were going to go. I can't believe concert lovers, music lovers are not going to come in droves when they realize this. Alabama is coming to Bluestem outdoors under the stars on June 4th, and there's still tickets available. You're outside. You're going to be in a good situation. You can get your tickets at jadepresents.com. I'm not trying to sell tickets for Jade, but my gosh, Alabama is going to be here at Bluestem outdoors. Your chance to see them, and there's still tickets available. I hope you won't pass them by. And just for everybody that is hanging on to last year's tickets, they're still good for this year, correct?
100%. Yep. Any ticket that hasn't been requested to be refunded would most definitely still be good for this show, correct?
Okay. Jade Nielson is joining us from Jade Presents. We're talking about getting going again, getting moving and getting back into the concerts, getting back into life a little bit here as life continues to slowly get back to normal at the end of this COVID situation. So, you want to break any news here today, Jade? Got any got any shows you haven't announced yet that are coming?
You're funny. You caught me off guard there. Well, we do have a few things in our back pocket, but I don't even know if I have that information with me right now. I'm sitting in my car outside an appointment, talking to you, so I don't necessarily have that information. But it's funny how things have really picked up. I mean, it's almost surreal to some degree that about 3 weeks ago, as we started seeing these COVID numbers, in our state go down and in some surrounding states, like all of a sudden the phone lines turned on and the email started, and artists were going, okay, yep, we're actually going to hit the road, and it's just been nonstop since then. So, we are going to end up, I think, probably with 8 or 9 shows at Bluestem, and considering that we're kind of dealing with a half a season, so to speak, as far as time period goes, I mean, that's really strong. So we definitely have some things up our sleeve to announce yet.
Okay, well, I can't wait to hear about it, and maybe you can announce them on this show someday if you'd like to. I do want to give one big plug. This show isn't in Fargo; it's in Bismarck. But I can't tell you how much I think of these guys. The Mavericks are going to be live in concert at Bell Mayhew's Auditorium in Bismarck on July 21st. Boy, if you have not seen the Mavericks before and you're looking for a great experience, check out the Mavs in the capital city on July 21st. They are truly amazing. And Alabama is going to be live in concert at Bluestem on June 4th. And I tell you what, I got 2 tickets right now. I'll give them away. Caller number 5, 237-5948, 237-5948. Caller number 5, you've got 2 tickets to Alabama live in concert under the stars at Bluestem. Jade Nielson from Jade Presents, getting back to normal, getting back into concerts. Check everything out at jadepresents.com. Jade, thanks so very much. I hope you have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Great to hear from you.
Great to hear from you. You take care. KFGO time is 4:23. You're listening to The Drive on the Mighty 790 and 104.7 KFGO.
You're listening to The Drive with Dan Michaels.
I guess I was going about 65 tops.
7 miles an hour
On the Mighty 790 and 104.7